Remember that major Hollywood award that Meghan and Harry's PR team used to distract everybody to put some good press out there and avoid their Emmy snub? Yeah, well, not only can I prove that the Hollywood Critics Association is bogus, but they're using Meghan and Harry themselves for their own PR stunt.
We want privacy! We want privacy!
Welcome to Popcorn Palace. I am Andy Signor, and yes, this is your new destination for royalty and gossip. And I got to give a shout out to Kinsey. Kinsey, who I'm going to have on the show soon, was out there, and we talked about Kinsey Schofield. If you're unaware of her and her To Die For podcast, she had me on this week. Thanks for having me. I'm going to have her on next week. We're going to have a whole bunch of guests next week. In fact, who would you love to see on this channel? Educate me about the royals. Leave a comment, tag them down below, because next week we're going to have some guest stars joining us here on the channel. But I got to give Kinsey proper respect. Go give her a subscribe, and when she's here, we'll give her a proper full-on plug. But we were talking about this during our To Die For podcast appearance, and she's now quoted from something else on Sunday that all of this made me realize I never really looked into the Hollywood Critics Association as deeply as I should have, because I know its old creator, Scott Movie Mance, who's a wonderful guy, the nicest guy out there. I don't believe for a second would have ever stayed associated with this organization, and he left this association once it became clear how shady they were, guys. It's pretty awful. So not only is this whole Hollywood Critics Association a nothing burger established by a couple random critics, they're sneaky. There's voter fraud amongst it. Guys, it's so shady. We got to get to this tea. But all right, before we get there, let's go to where Kinsey sort of inspired all of this as she was calling this out in one of her recent appearances. So anyway, the whole issue here, if you're unfamiliar, this 6-part docuseries on Netflix, the docuseries, was nominated, but it's being branded a PR stunt. Duke and Duchess of Sussex received a nomination for a Hollywood Critics Association TV Award for Best Streaming Nonfiction Series, produced by Netflix, captured the public's media attention with all eyes on the royal family, etc. But royal commentator Kinsey Schofield has insisted the award nomination is not well-meaning. She told Talk TV, "This to me is the biggest PR stunt from the Hollywood Critics Association trying to legitimize themselves because what they want is for Harry and Meghan to show up. It's not even televised. Nobody knows that this thing exists. I wouldn't be surprised if Harry and Meghan won this because it would give these people the most publicity they would ever have in their life if Harry and Meghan showed up, and they actually might." It comes, as Harry said, his mother's legacy continues to serve as an example of how to navigate the complexities of today's world. Harry was speaking in a video at the virtual Diana Award ceremony where more than 180 young people from 31 countries were recognized. The Diana Award was set up to promote the princess's belief. Each one of us has the ability to help a more equitable world, and the brilliant award recipients we're honoring today are proof that they exemplify the notion where voices can really rally change. So yeah, he loves these awards. He's always showing up to help with these awards, and they don't like to pass up awards is the bottom line here. So I 100% agree with Kinsey on this. Bravo, Kinsey. You're spot on. And when we talked, it made me realize, who is the Critics Association, guys? Why didn't we look more into them like Kinsey smartly did? Did you know that they were founded in 2016 and they were originally called the Los Angeles Online Film Critics Society, which is what they are. They're a bunch of online film critics, and no disrespect to film critics. I'm a huge fan of Scott Mance. But it was organized by Scott Menzel, who's a critic out there right now. Scott Mance and Ashley Menzel noted that his wife, we'll get there in a second, only had one film critic organization in LA. So they were like, hey, how come there's only the main Critics Association, but not another one? So they founded a second online critics society to be a group that was more diverse and support underrepresented voices. The group originally separated directing honors by gender. There's been so much conversation about the power of female filmmakers, but we wanted to embrace it, said Scott Mance. On January 10th, the group held its first annual film and awards at the Tagalan Complex in LA. 2019, they had discussion of a podcast, Film Critics Weekly, on the Popcorn Talk, where I used to go do streaming back in the Screen Junkies days. Long story short, they held all these events and they were trying to create a brand. And no disrespect to the Scotts for what they did. They were trying to realize, well, hey, we can get the studios to sort of pay it. We can then get access to the talent. The studio will then want to buy tables to our award shows, and this can become a legitimate critics association where we do have diverse options. We reward the right films, et cetera, et cetera. It all seemed good and well and good. Well, that was, when it started. Scott Menzel now is the sole, I guess him and his wife have now taken over the reins as Scott Movie Mance has left. And man, this place is plagued with issues. Tons of people have now resigned, turmoil. There's so much to break down here. They were starting to really, as you can see here, they actually had, people showing up because look, celebrities love to accept awards. They love to show up to places where they're patted on the back and told they're the best, etc. And so if you set up an event and nominate them, not only will they show up, but the studios will pay to show up and sponsor it, etc. It's a whole weird, sneaky world. And kudos for Movie Mance getting out of this before it started getting ugly. But a lot of really famous people have been here. A-listers have shown up. While it's not televised, they still show up for photos and to accept the award that they can use for marketing. It was a brainchild of a Scott movie man, Menzel, and Access Hollywood correspondent Scott Movie Mance in the summer of 2016, a critics group, unlike others, to be more balanced and racially diverse. They were joined then by journalist Chrisley Kennedy, who later, and then the three of them sort of grouped. Kennedy Chrisley, dropped out of the group in 2008, followed in September 2019 by Mance, who is displeased that Menzel had independently appointed his wife, Ashley Menzel, to be the group's vice president and begun making other major decisions without consultation. Now, I want to focus on two major things because, again, these are all allegations. Scott Menzel in the middle there is the one who's sort of still running this thing now with his wife instead of his two partners who built this with him. Interesting. But I want to go to two things. One, a woman, Shannon McGrew, joined and wanted to become part of this organization. She was reviewing things on a website called Nightmarishly Conjurings. She was a Rotten Tomatoes critic. Anyway, she wanted to become part of it. During her Zoom interview with Menzel, which was cordial, at the time he told me 3 people within the organization wanted to kick me out. Menzel says that they were just being candid, as other members told her the frequent tweets reflected poorly on a group from her. Never heard back about the board, a new board, which includes, so she was trying to put herself in this board position. She didn't get it, and she was told that she was going to get kicked out of the group altogether, which she was enjoying being a part of. And then suddenly the board was created with all of Menzel's chums. And so, anyway, long story short, she then posted questions asking about the finances. She left a bad taste in her mouth. She was clearly perturbed. She was upset. I wasn't there. I don't know who's right. Scott says a lot of this stuff is unfair. She keeps trying to claim the charity money that was raised for Ukraine was never given. GoFundMe has confirmed that she's being off base. All money that goes to that GoFundMe went straight to the organization, and it was only like $500 or something. But still, there was a lot of questions and financials that were being asked that she was being pushed out of. Long story short, she leaves. And she left, this is a special place in hell for all the women on the board that stood by and let this happen after she was expelled from the group. You're going to have a hell of a shock soon. Shortly after that, tons of members, females, etc., all resigned in solidarity. Number of members who worked for high-profile publications also bowed out, including Variety employees and the president of the Hollywood Critics Association, Lauren Huff of Entertainment Weekly. All of them left. The response from the HCA was completely out of scale with what Shannon had done, says one member who resigned, who was also alleged and provided substantiating documentation. In the days after this kind of stuff exploded with Shannon, there were things that were removed from the private members forums. There were things that were changed on YouTube channels. Now the list of members had been hidden. It stays up there until the shit hit the fan with this thing with Shannon. There was accusations of, was this a for-profit group? Was this a not-for-profit group? Guys, enough of this stuff made me think something shady is going on. Now, Menzel, you can go look this up for yourself, do your own homework. He's defended it and says, no, it's not the case, yada, yada, yada. I want to fast forward to one accusation from someone I do know and whose character I do trust. Scott Movie Mance is a really good person. And he basically acknowledged that there was a period there where Mance says he can, so here it is, sorry. They frauded their votes. And they picked a movie to win the best picture that the members didn't vote for. Ahead of the second film award, Mance said he confronted Menzel after Menzel sent out a press release declaring that The Hate You Give, a movie that was well reviewed but was nevertheless not a real part of the awards conversation, had suddenly been voted the winner of the Hollywood Critics Association's Best Picture Prize. Over the season's much higher contenders, Green Book, Roma, The Favorite, Stars Born, BlacKkKlansman, Black Panther, he said Ashley's, Menzel's wife, who is now listed as the co-founder, and I were going through the final votes, and it was looking like Roma was going to win. I didn't want us to just be like everybody else. So Ashley and I, when we saw which way the votes were going, voted for The Hate You Give. This movie speaks more to what our organization is about, so that's why I thought it would be good if we showed that this movie won. And I said, yeah, but if the members are voting and you are looking at the votes and you're voting another way to give your preference, you are manipulating the vote. That's voter fraud, Scott said. Scott Mance. Scott, ethically, I have a very big problem with this. Mance adds that he didn't and doesn't believe that The Hate You Give actually came anywhere near that kind of close topping the vote. Menzel denies making any such admission to Mance, though he does confirm that he and his wife voted for The Hate You Give. And that says that the unexpected results, like the film winning Best Picture, were likelier in those days because the HCA membership was still then very small. Look, I trust Scott Movie Mance. The dude's a good guy. He's not out there trying to cause drama with anybody. He loves movies. He reviews movies. He's passionate about movies. My God, is the guy passionate about movies. I'm siding with Movie Mance on this. If Movie Mance is out there saying this, and now you're calling him a liar to save your ass after so many other complaints, sorry, I'm a little confused here. Mance also expressed amusement when the HCA had a special award, Kristen Stewart in 2022, Actress of the Decade, because Menzel, and this word is used independently by all of them, obsessed with her. Stewart also won the HCA's Best Actress prize that year. Menzel confirms with a chuckle, yes, I've been obsessed with Kristen Stewart since I saw her at Speak and Sundance. You're allowed to be a fan. So anyway, all of this is very important because it proves not only is this award bogus, because this is Scott Movie Mance, who I know I like, in the middle of Scott Menzel, who I don't know the guy, but from everything I'm reading, something's fishy here. And I'm sorry, Scott, you're just because you nominate stuff and now you've been proven to vote where you want to go and to change the votes, this isn't right. So this organization is complete nonsense. Nonsense. Sorry. This is a group that was just established by some friends to try to get some attention and be film lovers. And now they're trying to turn this into a for-profit, not-for-profit. Oh, we filed the wrong paperwork, yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, they're making all this money while studios nominate their films to get special treatment, special access. Look, it's mean of me to point out, but only single out the Hollywood Critics Association because a lot of these organizations are shady. Don't get me wrong. The Golden Globes, Hollywood Foreign Press, etc. They all have their favorites. The Emmys, they're all Hollywood nonsense, in my opinion. But this one takes the cake. This is extra, extra creepy and sneaky. And Kinsey, good call, calling this out. And good call to Movie Mance, who you guys could follow Scott Mance. He's the real deal. Such a good guy. Does movie coverage like no one else and loves his movies. And good for him for calling this out for what it is. These guys are shady. Something's wrong, and that's why he left. And good on him and everybody else who left. But now it's important to remember where this came from, because this is just the Los Angeles Online Film Critics Society trying to make a name for themselves. And of course they're going to nominate these two. Because now, I mean, maybe they won't because now we're exposing them. Would have been nice if they showed up. But yeah, that whole thing was probably a sneaky PR stunt. My God, if these two show up to this, please show up to this and accept. We're so honored for this award. It's life-changing because this award, literally all awards, they mean nothing. And this one especially means nothing. So yeah, I absolutely believe they need the PR more than anybody. HCA, the Hollywood Critics Association, needs celebrities to show up. And what better celebrities to nominate than two celebrities who are desperate to keep their name out there and get the attention? Oh my God, this is nuts. Are you surprised by this? I mean, I know I was like shrugged it off and we all sort of shrugged it off, but did you know about all of those problems that this organization had? Does it surprise you that they would then pick Meghan and Harry? Oh, we got to applaud these two victims of everything, right? Oh my God, I roll like crazy. If you guys like this type of stuff and you want more scoops, exclusives, and that royalty, hit the subscribe button. Not only hit it here, but hit it on Popcorn Planet, hit it on Steph the Alternate. We got a lot of channels you can go head on over to support. It's important to support all the channels, guys, because We got a lot of stuff for you guys to see, including Steph, the Alter Nerd, Movie World, plus Lewis at Nerd Report, It's Kim, and Popcorn Planet. Subscribe to the whole community. The universe has expanded. But this channel, Popcorn Planet, is where you're going to get a lot more tea. So tell me down below, what do you think of this? Also, who should I be collabing with on this channel? Who should I show up on another channel? I want to hear ideas. We got to spread the word. Get the word out there. Tell your favorite royal YouTuber to hit us up because we want to get the word out there and get this bigger than ever. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be live over on Popcorn Planet in a couple hours in a little bit. I hope you'll join us there. Stay tuned for more, though, here on Popcorn Palace.